Good morning, and welcome to the Morning Report. My name is Willie Lawson. Morning Report is production of fightbackmedia.com, 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 and fightbackmediatv.com. It is Friday. You made it to Friday. Congratulations. Heck of a job. And those of you who are continuing to watch and continuing to share and continuing to comment here on the Morning Report, thank you very much. Thank you. I am pledging to you that we are going to get a Morning Report out every day if we can. Every day. I just went through a Think Media challenge, and one of the things that Sean Canal said in the challenge that if you want to do well on YouTube, you got to post on YouTube. And so we had to make sure that we're going to make sure that we're a lot more consistent. I'm going to tell you, and all the content creators out there know, this is the hard part. This is the hard part. All right. It is Friday and we're going into the weekend. We watched a lot of sports in my house. I'm just going to tell you, we watched a lot of NFL. We watched some XFL, yeah, even XFL, and we watched some USFL for sure, and the NFL. And we watched Rays baseball. I don't watch a lot of MLB because I'm not a baseball guy, but we do watch a considerable amount of Rays baseball here in Tampa Bay. We also watched some hockey. It's the hockey playoffs. My Tampa Bay Rays, Tampa Bay Lightning got slammed last night, 7-3, I think. Yeah, and it could have been 107-3. It was really, really not good at all. But something that I noticed, and it's a question that we should all start asking and asking out loud. Why aren't there trans boys or trans men, trying to use their terms, which are stupid terms, trying to use their terms, playing men's sports? Why don't you have the, I don't know, the 110th ranked woman deciding to be a man and play with the men or swim with the men? Why isn't that happening? Why? This is the question that needs to be asked. And frankly, I think it's the only question that needs to be asked. It's the only question. Why is that happening? I saw a video on Twitter, and I'm trying not to watch Twitter. Actually, I logged out of Twitter the other day. I just logged out of it, so because it was too much. I had to unfollow a friend of mine who has a huge presence on Twitter and an XM radio show. I just had to disconnect from Twitter. It's just so negative. But I saw a video of a young volleyball player, a girl, get hit in the head from a spike from a boy. Gave her a concussion. I think broke some bones in her neck, and she is still recovering because she was playing volleyball with a biological male, a boy, who can hit harder, much harder than any of the girls that she would have been playing with. Why don't you see the reverse of that? Why? The other question, because I'm all about this, ask the next question. We get caught up in our lists of things to talk about, our talking points. But what we don't do is ask the next question, because that will move the conversation forward. And a lot of times prove your point pretty quickly. The first question is, why don't we see the opposite? I mean, really, don't girls who really want to be boys, don't they want to participate with the boys? Don't they? Don't they feel more comfortable in the boys' locker room? Don't they? Don't they feel more comfortable out there with the guys because they're a guy? Don't they feel more comfortable? Why? Why is that? It's just a question. And then people will get upset and I'll call you names, but whatever. Answer my damned question. No? Okay, so you're not going to ask my question, which tells me a whole bunch about the situation. So, when the House of Representatives passed the Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act, seems like some common sense, right? Seems crazy it seems crazy that you even have to do that you even have to pass a law that says, oh, no, 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 only girls can play girls sports and only boys can play boys sports. If you have to pass a law to do that. But it was passed by every single Republican in the House, and the progressive left lost their cookies about it, just went ape snit about it. That's all. And it's designed to protect women's sports, which isn't transphobic necessarily. It's like, hey, listen, we only want girls playing girl sports. We only want biological girls playing girl sports. It protects the integrity of the sport. It protects the competition level. And it makes it safer. When you have what do they call it? An MMA boxer fighter that who is trans, a dude that has broken the skull of two women in the sport. I don't know why they even let this go on. He's broken the skull of two women because he's fighting with women. How would he do fighting? How would this dude do fighting against the men? Probably not as well. But fighting against women, he's broken two women's skulls. Hardly seems like something that you want. Well, the Protection of Women in Sports Act mandates that schools must safeguard from discrimination based on their biological sex. It was the original purpose as it pertains to athletes. Legislation guarantees that only individuals who are biological females will compete against other biological females in women's sports that receive educational funding. So, no, you can't have that boy on your girls volleyball team. Now, the second question for those of you who are working in high schools and the like: if for some reason you have a guy on the bat who wants to play volleyball, there are men's volleyball teams. Start one. Now, your county, your district may not have boys volleyball, but there's club volleyball that has boys on it. Work it out. If you really want to give that kid an opportunity to play volleyball, the girls' volleyball team is not the place for them. It is not. Start a team. This happened in Florida with football. There are girls who said, I want to play football. I like football. I like the sport. I like football. So in Florida, we go, well, you're not going to play tackle football. Okay, we'll play flag football. And they play flag football. And flag football in Florida has blown up. It's freaking huge. So huge, in fact, if you watch the NFL Pro Bowl game, they played flag football, which is a big boost to flag football here in the state of Florida for sure. Because if the NFL played flag football, then it's perfectly okay for the girls in Florida. And actually, Robinson High School, which is a little high school in this area, has dominated flag football since almost since its inception here in Florida, as a venue by which to play. Boys play tackle, and the girls play flag football. And no, and the boys can't be on the girls' team, even if they don't feel like they have, tested. No, that is set aside specifically for young women. They're not segregated; they're protected. It's set aside particularly for them to get scholarships and to get notoriety and to enjoy the thrill of real competition against people like them. And this isn't any different than what we do in sports to start with. It's not any different. That's why this conversation is nutty. In wrestling, there are girls who wrestle on wrestling teams, and they can do that for a reason because there are weight classes. There are weight classes in wrestling. In high school wrestling and college wrestling, there are weight classes. So you do not have a 260-pound boy wrestling a 120-pound girl. As a matter of fact, you don't have a 260-pound boy wrestling a 120-pound boy. The 120-pounders were fierce, by the way, go against each other. They do. Speed, technique, strength, yes. Speed and technique. As you move, and most of the girls are in the lower weight classes who happen to wrestle on boys wrestling teams. Because people want to use that, they use that and they don't know anything about it. But you don't see a lot of that. What you don't see is the boys trying to wrestle on the girls, and there are some schools that have girls wrestling teams. You don't see the opposite. I mean, you hardly ever see what you see in wrestling. You don't. Now, the House has passed this bill. Think about this. Think about the position the left has put themselves in. The House has passed this bill to protect women's sports, to protect Title IX, that a lot of these liberal Democrats, these progressive Democrats, fought tooth and nail for. They fought hard for Title IX. And this is just a protection based in Title IX. And now, the bad news is that Joe Biden, the president of the United States, has pledged to veto a bill that protects women and girls in sports, to protect Title IX. If you are a parent of a young lady that is participating in sports and maybe getting a scholarship or has the opportunity to get a scholarship to further her education or the like, or just think that this is the worst thing ever, go ahead and call the White House at that number right there, 202-456-1111, 202-456-1111, and say and say, President Biden, sign the bill, protect our girls. Protect our girls. My friend Jeff Charles wrote an article at Red State asking the question, why do Democrats want biological males to compete against women? Well, there's this outrageously, and he makes the point in this article beautifully. So it's in Red State. Go ahead and read it. Again, Jeff Charles is the dude. The idea is that they want to promote this outrageously ridiculous this falsehood. It's really bizarre. It's kind of bizarre, really, that men and women are exactly the same. Exactly the same. But in order for the to get them the same in sports, you have to have the dudes have to eat some puberty blocking medication, right? And they have to like I don't know, take some estrogen and and get on a hormone program, which would make them different from the start, and then you take the medication and now you're different. The only problem is that you have skeleton, and after a certain amount of time you keep that. If you look at William Dave, I mean um, William, what's that dude's last name? Davis, goes by the name of Leah Thompson, I think. I don't remember because I don't want to remember, but I know the dude's first name is William. If you look at his physique, he's set up like a dude. Not surprising that he does well against women in the pool. Not surprising. Look at his physique because he's a dude. He's a dude that was a middle of the pack, lower part of the middle of the pack swimmer against men, dominating against women. Only being, I mean, the only woman who could tie him was a five-time All American. The top of the top of the top women could compete against this dude. When people like Serena Williams says, "No, I don't want to play the I don't play the men." they they hit too hard. They no. When Serena Williams, who's probably the best female tennis player ever, easily ever, Serena ended up being better than her sister Venus. Um, yeah, there's no, they don't want. I mean, she doesn't want to play against the men. She doesn't want to play against Annie Roddick or any of those dudes because they hit too hard, they move too fast, they're too strong. When Serena Williams says this, why aren't regular people who are out here with us? Forget the people who are steeped in the agenda, but regular folks like us, you and I, your neighbors, your workmates. Why aren't they saying, "Stop! Wait a minute, that's not right"? When a world class athlete says, "Nah, that shouldn't be happening." When you see the MMA fighter who's breaking women's skulls, when you see that, why aren't regular folks going, "Hey, hey, that ain't right"? It didn't have anything to do with MAGA Republicans, sensational. I love that. And here's the, let's see, Representative Greg Landsman, a Democrat from Ohio, said this bill is about bullying children. Only children that are getting bullied are the girl athletes. Um, Representative Pramila Jayapal, of course, Democrat from Michigan, says we should rename it and call it and rename it and cancel trans kid hate bill. We should name it cancel trans kids hate bill. What? This bill fuels a virulent hate campaign against kids who just want to play with their friends. Now you know that's not what this is, right? You know that that's not what this is at all. Eric Swalwell, who sleeps with Chinese spies, these creeps want to invade our kids' locker room. I'm voting against it. Huh? Who's invading whose locker room? Talk to Riley Gaines. Talk to some of the women on the Penn swim team. When William shows up fully intact, with the whole nine down there swinging in a locker room, taking a shower. Do, 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 swing, swing. Really? Who's invading whose locker room, Swalwell? Shut up, Swalwell. Um, trans rights are human rights, and trans rights are human rights are women's rights. They deserve trans girls, boys deserve to play sports like any other kid, and they can with the boys, with people who are their physical equivalent. That's what it's about. The women's march says that they ought to play like any other kid. Well, they can. The boys can play with the boys. The boys can play basketball with the girls. Have you seen any women decide that they want to be in the NBA? You see any women from the WNBA decide, I want to make the big money. I want to play with the men. Okay, go right ahead. You seen that happening? No, because the men are faster, they're taller, they're bigger, they're stronger. And the women who are in NBA know that. WNBA know that. They know that. We learned this lesson years ago when Billie Jean King played this guy. It was just a guy, really. It wasn't even a great tennis player. He'd been on the tour, I guess, a long time ago. And she didn't destroy him. And she was the best tennis player, the women's tennis player at the time. Would Billie Jean King had beaten someone like Bjorn Borg or Jimmy Connors? No, destroyed her. Faster, bigger, stronger. Nature. If you're at Whole Foods and you're all about organic and nature, men, bigger, faster, stronger. Nature. My name is Willie Lawson. This is the Morning Report. The Morning Report is a production of fightbackmedia.com, fightbackmedia.com, and fightbackmediatv.com. Until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, y'all take care of yourself. We will see you when we see you.